Hey, what's up, guys? It's just me right now. The review and watch along were both of us, but this is just me because I've tried to edit this watch along countless amounts of times now, and it keeps getting blocked. And I've cut it up way too much, I feel. And I don't know why it's this way. It's just what it is. But so I'm just having to release the review on YouTube just so you guys can know our thoughts on the second part of MUNNA BHAI. But yeah, unfortunately I won't be able to post the watch along because every time I've cut it up it's still getting blocked, and I'm tired of editing it. I apologize. So if you'd like to see the full uncut watch along, you can head over to Patreon or channel memberships. We'll also have that, and I'll put the link in the description below and in the pinned comment, so you can go check out the watch along. And I'm very sorry once again. I wish I could have given it to you guys, but enjoy the review.
That was really sweet. It had the same heart as the first one, just not as much, at least, comedy that we could get. So like that part I think was probably the biggest disconnect between the two, in terms of the comedy really helped enforce a lot of the really getting into it. Yeah. And since there was some, obviously I laughed out loud multiple times. It's just it's hard to not compare the two, obviously, because we just basically almost saw them back to back. Right. But I enjoyed it. It's just I don't think I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first one, for sure.
Agree.
Even though it had the same, I feel like it did have the same heart.
It had a similar heart, and it had some fun points. Yeah. There were places in it that dragged where the other film didn't. Yeah. And you can tell the why as to why the two movies were made. The first one was made with a deeper artistic why than this one. This one was made because the first one was a success, and they said, "Hey, let's make a sequel." Okay, what are we going to say? I don't know. Let's come up with something that's going to work. We'll use these same characters, and it's still fun. Yeah. But yeah, I personally, I would watch the first one again in a heartbeat. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily watch this one. If it was on, I might leave it on and enjoy some of the funny parts in it, but I much prefer the first one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the comedy that maybe we miss is, because it was told in the first one, and we love the first one, obviously, but I was told that a lot of the comedy, even in the first one, so I assume in this one as well, is from how they are speaking. Like accent, dialect. Also what they're saying, like the slang they're using, is a ton of the comedy in both movies.
So in other words, it would be comparable to us watching a film and hearing somebody say beauty and knowing their Canadian English versus somebody saying get out of here and we would know their East Coast English.
So, and I heard a bunch of people after we watched the first one, they said, yeah, the second one's even better. So I'm guessing there's a lot.
It's got to be a lot more of that
in here. Yeah. Also, it has the like I said, this does have the same Rajkumar Hurani heart to it, obviously, right? In terms of like, it's still silly, but it's like, okay, there's his underlying sense of good. He's trying. Obviously, this one has Gandhi as well, so there's some patriotism aspects.
Yeah,
to
that's very sweet.
And so that does keep you engaged. It's just I think the biggest disconnect was the fact that I wasn't laughing as much. Right. And so I wasn't like as engaged or invested in their story. Exactly. As I was in the first one. Right. Even though it's all still silly and goofy, it's just I was a lot more engaged in the first one. Right. And maybe it's similar to, because it was a lot, I mean, there was different films for sure, but a lot of the same plot points of the first film, right? Yeah. Kind of similar to Back to the Future. Back to the Future is 3 films. Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 are the exact same film. They're just one's in the past and one's in the future. Right. If you've not seen, or the third one's in the West, right? Yeah. And the second one is in the past. I forget, but they're essentially, if you haven't seen it in a while, I don't know if you have.
I haven't seen 2 and 3 in a almost long the exact
time. Plot points, just in the West.
I haven't seen the 2 and the 3.
And so it's not that egregious for this one. And I did enjoy. I love Circuit. I could do an entire film just about the Circuit character, just because I think he's such an endearing, sweet character, and I think the actor that plays him does a very good job.
Yeah, I do too.
That's it right there.
Yeah, Arshad Warsi.
Did it also seem to you that it wasn't Vidya's voice?
It may not have been.
Obviously, it was dubbed.
It was dubbed.
But it didn't, like in Om Shanti Om,
right?
You saw, that's not Deepika's voice.
Right.
I don't know if you knew that. And I'm wondering, since this was early on in her career, if they did the same thing.
Maybe so.
Or maybe it was her voice. It just didn't feel like her voice.
I agree.
It felt very different to me. But I like there was some songs in this one that were it is interesting, even though there's some nice songs compared to in this. Maybe this was more to maybe we were expecting more comedy because obviously the first one had a bunch of comedy. This probably had the same amount of comedy that Three Idiots and PK had. Because I don't consider those I mean, they have funny.
They have funny parts in them, but they're not. They're dramedies.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so this was more that. This was more dramedy.
Yes, agreed.
And so maybe my expectations, considering the first one, because the first one was very funny and it had a whole bunch of humor, maybe my expectations were. But yeah, I feel also you kind of have to keep the same comedy for if you're doing a sequel.
Yeah.
And it's also very interesting that they decided not to continue that. Anything from the first one.
Anything at all.
Outside of their relationship.
Yeah, Circuit and his relationship and meeting at the water with their pant legs rolled up, being goons.
Yeah.
But other than that, and him wearing primary colors as his shirts.
Yes.
But all of the other aspects, it was very interesting.
You said those old school movies like not Pink Panther, you said where they add the same characters.
Not the old schools. Flanagan does that with, for it's not the same characters, but if you watch The Haunting of Hill House and then you watch The Haunting of Bly Manor, and then you watch his newest one, I forgot what it's called. I can see the poster for it, but I forgot what it's called. He uses the same cast, just in different roles.
Really?
Yeah, he loves using the same actors. So you're seeing, it's very jarring at first when you watch Haunting of Hill House because you're seeing all of these characters that you just spent. I mean, Haunting of Bly Manor. In Haunting of Hill House, you've got this series that you've watched with all of these people playing these characters. And now a new series comes out, the very next one, and it's the same cast playing completely different characters in completely different places in the world. And so you have to take a second and go, okay, he just wants to work with the same cast members because you remember them all as being the family members that were doing this, and now they're pretending they don't know each other. It's a weird disconnect.
Yeah.
But after a couple of episodes, and that's how I felt with this.
Yeah.
After a few minutes, I went, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, I will now adjust.
It almost even could have been a prequel. You don't know where this falls in line in terms of...
Yeah.
Because obviously he was in love with the other girl in the other film.
Yeah.
And we thought they would even end up together.
A lot like 007 films.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just they could fall at any place, really.
These are basically two stories of Munna and Circuit anytime in their life.
Yeah.
Just we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know when it is. They're just like, and they're standalones.
It's basically...
You don't need to watch the first one.
Not at all. It's basically, what would happen if Munna, BHAI, and Circuit fill in the blank?
Yeah.
There you go. You could do another one. What would happen if Munna, BHAI, and Circuit fill in the blank?
Yeah. And it's interesting that, because I think I was saying before, I said similar to PK and Three Idiots. Those, I think, have more memorable songs than both of these films.
Agreed.
Even though I love Munna, BHAI, MBBS, that's probably the most. And these were kind of jazzy almost, and they were nice.
Yeah.
But I think they had less memorable songs than his others, like Three Idiots and PK.
I agree. And the other thing that those have that the first Munna, BHAI has is a stronger moral to the story. This has a moral to the story, but it's not as strong as the other one.
Yeah. I agree. I still enjoyed Sanjay Dutt as the character.
Arshad Warsi.
Arshad Warsi.
Yeah.
I really enjoy his character. They should make
Did you like Bowman?
Is
he growing on you?
It fits in the world.
It does.
And like I said, I need to watch Three Idiots again. Because that, once again, first thing, I didn't know. Thing. Obviously, we didn't know a thing. And so I'd probably give him a lot more grace. Is he in Donkey?
Let's see. I hope so, because he was in PK. Yep.
Yes.
Heck yeah, he is. That's awesome.
That's exciting.
That's very exciting.
Was he in Sanju as well? Because that's the only other film of
I don't remember
Rajkumar Hirani's filmography that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I don't remember if he's in that or not.
Sorry, I'm trying to look it up here. That's fun though. It's going to be so interesting, not to get off on Donkey, because obviously we'll talk about that when that comes out. This is about this film. If that style can still work.
Yeah.
This silly, and you don't know if he's going to continue to do that style, because that was very of the time for Bollywood. Everything's silly, over the top. But, and then still had the heart. But does that work in 2023?
It's going to be interesting.
But
I'm expecting, for the amount of time it's been, and this is an original, not a sequel, this is a first installment, and maybe an only installment, I'm anticipating it to have a really good moral to the story that you're going to walk away with having a sense of, oh yeah, that's the way things should be made right in the world.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite things about him. It's one of my favorite things about PK is these are universal truths we need to hang on to remember that if we apply them, we can make the world a better place. That's what I love about his films.
Bowman is in Sanju.
Oh, he is. That's good. That doesn't surprise me.
He is his muse.
He's his muse, yeah.
That is funny.
Works with them all the time. Basically, it's I've got a film I'm working on. Oh, okay. What are the dates for shooting?
It's like Quentin with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're going to be in my film.
You're going to be in my every film I do. So if you get a call, yeah, when are we filming?
And so like I am kind of sad that I didn't enjoy it as much as I think other people probably enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the first, even though, like I said, I don't hate this film.
No.
I think this is a good, fun film.
I like this one. I loved that one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Maybe my expectations were crazy high just because of how much we enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, but I did like this.
It just, if that's 100, this would be more of an 80.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just in terms of how I connected to the film.
Absolutely. I didn't... there's nothing about this I disliked. There were a couple of spots where it dragged a little bit for me.
Because there wasn't enough comedy.
No, but ultimately, I would... Like I said, if I happened to turn on the TV and it was on, I would probably keep it on and just enjoy it for a little bit. But I wouldn't purposefully go about watching it again.
If you turned it on with your wife, she would be laughing more than you would.
Absolutely. And she'd be able to point a bunch of things out that would make me like it more.
Yeah, because of obviously whatever the comedy is. We've been told that already. He does have a very interesting filmography. A lot of people have said he's never had a flop hit.
Yeah.
And so the only one remaining outside of when Donkey comes out, also is September 7th.
I did see that on SRK's. I saw it on his Instagram.
September 7th is now the official date.
And speaking of SRK, we're getting close to the Night Riders playing some games here.
Oh, are we?
We are. The season was announced. They're going to start playing some games. The schedule hasn't been announced, but games will start being played in July. And the arena for them will be up sometime in 2024, maybe 2025. But the first season and the first games are going to be in July. And they're going to be in Anaheim, here.
Where?
I don't know what field they're going to use yet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yep, because I follow the Night Rider Instagram page.
You're gonna be in town.
Yep, he'll be here for the opening for sure.
Well, he has a house here, so
exactly.
Anyways, so yeah, I enjoyed it. Please let us know the certain comedy that there was. Explain to us what we missed and what certain things were funny. And, because I'm sure there's a ton of that. I guess we'll get to Sanju before Donkey. Because I just want to get to his entire filmography so we can kind of encapsulate it all. And this would be his most recent. So we'll be able to see his more recent style. Even though a lot of people said this one does have heart. It's not like these, though.
Well, it's probably just the style of the time is changed. And I agree. I think Sanju's going to give us more of an idea of where his style will be for Donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's only, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it's about Sanjay Dutt's life.
Right.
Which is so interesting.
Very interesting,
he
isn't it?
is the one that is directing that. Anyways, let us know what you thought about this film. What should be our next watch along? What should be our next circuit?
Yes,
circuit film and
circuit film.
Sanjay Dutt film that we should watch. Oh, and no, we didn't say anything about Vidya. I thought she did well. Let me know if it was her voice as well, because I am wondering that.
Yeah, she did fine. There wasn't a lot for her to do with it other than what she did. She was good.
These films, like I said in the first one, it's hard to review because it's more about how you felt,
right?
More than the artistic part of it,
right?
Because this is more about he was making these films to make you feel good,
right?
And
well, the first one does it for sure.
So, anyways, let us know what you thought about it down below.